let's talk bookcases. If your collection is growing like mine, you're running out of space. Sure, I mean, you could grab a cheap store-bought case, however, they never quite fit right. They waste space, a lot of them sag, whereas crafting your own will save you money, get you exactly what you need, and will enable you to fit more books. In this video, we're going to cover construction methods, lighting, optimizing shelf depth and size for your book collection, installation tips, and much more. And make sure to stick around until the end to find out how much weight these shelves actually hold. Spoiler, it's way more than you'd think. You know, some projects make more sense to do yourself than others. Like kitchen chairs? Bookcases, definitely. First thing to decide is what kind of shelf to make. You want to do a freestanding, a built-in unit, or a wall unit. A freestanding, I mean, great if you are renting or if you want to be able to move things around. Of course, a freestanding unit can look different as well. It can be a half piece like this one here. If you have a space that really screams built-in, then why not go for it? In terms of material and effort, it is very similar to a freestanding unit. Wall units, I think, are underused. This is great if you have a kind of a weird space, a small space, somewhere where you wouldn't even think you could put a bookcase. But no matter what style, the main thing to figure out is the construction. How will it go together? Well, let's assume we're doing a traditional style, which starts with a box. How to secure the sides to the top and bottom? Easiest way, glue and screw. Make sure the wood is untreated before gluing, secure properly, ideally using clamps or support, and screw together. Slightly more advanced, make the pieces fit into each other. A locking dado joint is quick to do on the table saw. Cut the joint about half the thickness of the wood on both pieces and make sure that they line up. How about the shelves? Again, the easiest way is simply screws. Either regular screws from the outside in or pocket screws from the inside. You may wonder, is this strong enough? Can I rely on screws when books are so heavy? In my experience, this is fine. I've had no issues using screws with shelves that hold a lot of books. To help you line things up, you can always mark the position and then clamp a piece of scrap wood and lean your shelf on the support while securing it with your hardware. To make the shelves fit into the sides, dados are great. Mark out and cut dados on the sides, the same thickness as your shelves. In this case, we're using 3/4 inch plywood, so cutting with a 3/4 inch dado stack on the table saw. One tip is to keep the two side pieces as one and cut the dados, and then cut the piece in half. That way you know the two sides are going to line up perfectly. Then glue and clamp while it's drying. Once both sides of the frame are glued in place, the shelves are locked in, and these shelves can handle a ton of weight, and the whole frame is really sturdy. Dowels, a bit more difficult to line up, perhaps not the best choice for a really large bookcase build. But for something smaller, using dowels that go through the sides into the shelves is a fun way to mix it up. It can become a visual feature from the side, and if you have a solid piece as a backing, you can pre-drill dowel holes before assembly, glue together, and then finish up with the dowels from the back as well as the sides, which you wouldn't see from the front. We did this for this project here, and it turned out great. Let's talk shelf depth for a minute. If you look at bookcases in the store, you'll notice quickly that most of them are quite deep, usually 10 to 12 inches. 12 inches is right here. If your goal is actually to fit a lot of books, you can be a lot smarter about the design. So here we have a bookcase. It's not deep at all. With the face frame, this is 6.5 inches deep. So considering, between 10 and 12 is a generic size, 6 inches is about half that depth. Now this is not going to hold all of your books, but for paperbacks, smaller issues, this works great. Now this is kind of a high traffic area. We walk back here, so don't want something coming out too far. Making specific bookcases for different books is a great way to be more efficient. So we have a narrow bookcase here. Over here I have one that's quite deep. This shelf, on the other hand, is designed for cookbooks. This measures, a little over 10 inches in depth. For this unit here, we actually have 3 3 different depths. So we have the top unit, which is what, just around 10 inches deep, so that's still pretty, comfortable depth. Then we have the lower unit, which is a little bit deeper, 11 inches, so it goes out a little bit. Then we have a middle section here that actually comes out further, 18 inches. And this is to hold speaker, receiver, things like that, stereo equipment. And it breaks up the flow a little bit too, because this is such a wide built-in unit. The same goes for height. Store-bought bookcases are usually quite generous with space between shelves. Fine for decorative objects, but you can be more efficient if you want. I have a speaker, which cut this one in half, so we have 2 shelves there. So for example, these shelves, about 10 inches in space, which, as you can see, unless you have textbooks or coffee table books, is plenty. There's not a lot of extra overhang space that is wasted space. Okay, so you may think to yourself, I'd really like to do a built-in, but it seems like such a big project. But what is the built-in really? It's a freestanding unit risen up on a platform and capped with molding. Now, if your base trim is 4 inches high, a common trim size, then I like the platform to be 4 inches also. It's not a good idea to build a bookcase the exact same height as your floor to ceiling space. It will make it very difficult, no, impossible to get it in the house and stand it up straight. And also, you don't want a shelf to start at the floor. It looks much better if it is brought up a little. So take a measurement of your space. If you have base trim and ceiling molding already in place, work from those numbers and create a unit in between those two. If you don't have molding at all, you should still create some for this built-in. Molding and trim will hide any weird spaces or gaps and make it a seamless piece. Now, if you're building a rather large unit, let's take this one for example. What I did was to create 3 structures in the shop. 1 base structure and 2 top structures. Then I used loose shelves to connect the 2 top ones together. I used pocket screws for this. Once everything is in place and you've got trim and molding, it looks like one piece, even though it's not. Now, it's important to know where your studs are. Even with a built-in, you want to secure it to the wall. And this, of course, is paramount when you're installing a wall shelf. I like to create a nailing strip area that you design ahead of time where you will connect the piece to the wall. Okay, weird scenario. What if you're looking to install a wall shelf, but you can only find 1 stud in this space? I mean, ideally you'd want 2. Well, one thing you can do is to create 2 nailing strips and nail it into 1 stud, but in 2 different locations on your shelf. Okay, what material to use for your bookcase? Primarily for most of my bookcases, I've used plywood. You can go, basic plywood that you paint. You can go fancier plywood, like a fancy veneer, to make it look like you're using cherry or walnut or something like that, which is going to be a little bit more money, but still cheaper than using the hardwood itself. Sometimes I have used solid wood, like pine or something like that, which obviously is nice. And if you paint that, you can see the wood grain through a little bit also. I've also used scrap wood, where you glue panels together to create a solid piece. That we used for our latest project. Used it for the shelves as well as the back piece, and that was oak, so that was like solid wood, but we didn't have enough bigger pieces of solid wood, so then gluing them together, kind of like a cutting board, works really great. If you're using plywood, you have to think about the edges, right? You don't want to see those plywood edges, unless maybe you're using Baltic birch plywood and it's part of the design. This one is made with Baltic birch, so kind of a nice example of using nicer plywood where that really gets to shine. So, edges, capping those edges. You can use edge banding on a roll, which is fine and affordable. The downside is sometimes it can kind of peel over time, and it's hard to get a very clean, crisp look. My favorite, if I'm using plywood, is to use hardwood for the capping. So you cut pieces however thick you want, 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch thick, and then secure it to the edges. This can also add structural support, especially if you secure it over longer distances. But it also just adds a really nice solid look, because now your bookcase looks very much like solid wood. Okay, we have plywood, but we have oak capping. And since the oak is really the only thing you see, more or less, it really looks like a solid wood bookcase. Back backing. Okay, backing can be a visual element, right? Like for example, we have white shelves here and a backing in cherry plywood that will offset a little bit. The backing is very important to prevent racking, to make sure everything is stable. Here I'm nailing it into the shelves.
Assuming that your cut, like of the back panel, is square to begin with, this is also a good way to ensure that your unit is square, because this one was a little bit out of square, but once you put the backing on, you can kind of adjust it and just kind of squeeze everything in place and get it nice and square.
On previous builds I have used beadboard. Actually on this unit right here there's beadboard at the bottom where you can't see it as much. But for backing, I mean, you can use whatever you have on hand. And you can even glue scraps together if you want solid wood and you have leftover pieces. Just make sure they're the same height. The main reason why we did that here was so we could attach things to the back, like this Raspberry Pi computer and accessories. Okay, a common question: how do you avoid sagging? Books are heavy. A practical way is to add blocking in the middle of shelves.
So first I was thinking about just putting these all in the middle, but then I figured that I won't be able to secure them from the top and the bottom. So instead then I'm staggering the pieces, which I think will look kind of nice anyway.
Make sure the span is not too long and that every shelf has blocking. If you have a section where you want to avoid blocking, you can add brackets going into the studs. It's not as secure, but it helps. Another option is to add a cleat in the back. Like this nailing strip, you could add one under each shelf, and then the shelf will further rest on there. The other thing to keep in mind is the thinner your material, the more likely it's going to sag. So avoid using 1/2 inch material for the most part. Go with 3/4 inch or something like that. Another way to go if you're really concerned about sagging and you're planning for very heavy things is to use thicker plywood in the back and also add dados there. If you have grooves and dados keeping a shelf in place both from the sides and the back, that shelf is going to have a ton of support. A custom-built bookcase is a great opportunity for lighting. A funny thing about bookcases with lighting like this, before it's there, you don't realize just how much it was needed. Because when the lights are not on here in the back, this just looks like a big black hole. And that's true every time you put a bookcase up with lighting. It just adds such a nice accent. Now, adding lighting is something you ideally think about, ahead of time. You can do it after the fact, but it's perfect if you can plan for that in the beginning of your build. So, what does planning for that mean? Well, if you want integrated lighting where it's shining down on each shelf, as opposed to art lighting, which you can easily add to any existing bookcase, the first step, source lights. The quality of the light matters. These are 90 CRI. Also be mindful of the color. These are 4000K, which is a nice natural white color. This one I think works especially well if you have a wood element on your shelf, which warms it up further. If I was adding these to simply a white case, I might go with a slightly warmer color. These specific lights are dimmable, not all are. Having the option to dim is very useful. Sometimes you don't want too much light. And bookshelves is a lot of surface to cover, and you can use the LEDs straight. However, a great way to make them go further and also distribute the light better is to actually cut them in sections, solder together with wire, and then attach. In terms of attaching, it's nice to add grooves in your wood so the lights can sit inset instead of protruding. This of course needs to be done before assembly, so cut 3/4 inch grooves in the shelves. And then once your case is assembled, it's time to put on the lights.
So the technique that I found really works well when you're gluing on the strips is first taking off the paper, then putting some spots of the polyurethane glue, and then putting hot glue. And then I stick that in, and then the hot glue immediately clamps it in and gives it a little bit of time for the polyurethane glue to set.
Here we added a little box for the dimmer, which is a nice little feature. This one here actually is attached with metal and magnets so that you can take it off if you'd like. But a little box for a dimmer is nice, not necessary obviously. Have Have you ever had a book get stuck to a painted surface? I have, and it's kind of annoying, but the way I like to avoid this from happening is to use a flat paint on a shelf and then finish it with a water-based polyurethane or like acrylic. That way I haven't had any books get stuck to that type of finish, and if you were looking for like a painted surface, that works great. If I'm just using solid hardwood, then my favorite is just to like sand it and then use wax polish on it for a smooth look. If your wood is a bit on the rough side, as the case with this scrap wood panel, another option is to use epoxy, which will seal the wood in while also providing a finish. It is important to have a nice finish on a bookcase, and you don't want your books to get stuck. Okay, if you have an outlet where you are putting a bookcase, it's a shame to just cap it off. So what I like to do is one of two things. Either just cut a little hole and then run an extension cord or an extension outlet through there and then attach that to the back of the bookcase, so that like on the front of the bookcase, so you still have access to it. Or you can cut out an exact hole for the outlet so that you can still access it.
Plug fits perfectly in there.
Sometimes a bookcase needs to be more than just a bookcase, or you might as well utilize the space. One of my favorite builds ever is actually in this shop right here, and it is my built-in desk/bookcase. In this situation, we have a bookcase, and it's not that different from other bookcases, but it also has like a lid that is a desk that can come down, and you can bring it up and close it off, and it is nice and clean if you need the floor space. But I tend to keep my desk down 99.9% of the time and use it as a desk. But then you also have this bookcase concept. So if you're debating about a design and you're looking for multifunction, I would highly recommend that concept, getting a work surface as well as a bookcase in one. If you have a corner and you're just like, what can I do with this corner? Here's a little design that I think is kind of fun. It's not going to hold a ton of stuff, but you know, it adds a nice visual feature. These shelves here are connected just with screws. So let's see how much weight they can actually handle. How about the complete Oxford English Dictionary? 34.6 plus 43.8. So the complete Oxford English Dictionary weighs 78.4 pounds. What I really want to do is just put a lot more bookcases in our house, you know, trying to like, oh, maybe that little corner there or that area there would be, you know, would work. So kind of always looking for where to put more bookcases. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Would you add any tips, any things that you think are important to realize when building your own bookcases? Have a good one, and I'll see you soon. Bye. And in terms of the ladder, while not a necessary thing, and while we don't use it all the time, it is very useful every now and then when you want to get a book higher up. So yeah, that is one of the things that have proven quite nice about this project.